All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of Canada's most important and maybe most misunderstood savings tools, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan, or as we all know it, the RRSP. Whether you're just kicking off your career or you're deep into planning your future, really getting how this plan works is absolutely crucial.
Just so you know, this explainer is prepared by Samir Al-Rashani, PhD, with AI support. To make this all really click, we're going to follow the story of a character we'll call Alex. We'll start with the absolute basics. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how your contribution room is actually calculated. After that, we'll see how a workplace pension throws a bit of a wrench in the works, explore a really cool feature for buying a house, look at some smart strategies for couples, and finally, see what happens when you actually get to retirement. Let's get into it.
So let's start at the very beginning. What is an RRSP at its core? Well, it's so much more than just a savings account. You should think of it as a special container, a tool that the government has created to give you a huge leg up on saving for retirement, mainly through some pretty amazing tax advantages. Okay, so the real power of an RRSP, the real magic, boils down to three key things. First off, any money you put in is tax deductible. That means if you earn $60,000 and you contribute $5,000, you only get taxed as if you earn $55,000. Pretty great, right? Second, and this is where it gets really powerful, all of your investments inside that RRSP grow completely tax-free. No tax on interest, no tax on dividends, no capital gains tax. That lets your money compound year after year without the government taking a slice. And third, you only pay tax when you take the money out, which for most of us will be in retirement when our income is lower, meaning our tax rate is also lower. That's the whole game, defer the tax from your high-income years to your low-income years. So, how much can you actually put in? Well, it's not a free-for-all. You can't just dump your whole salary in there. There's a very specific formula that determines your personal deduction limit each year, and we're about to crack it open. The basic formula is actually, well, it's pretty simple. A plus B. A is all the contribution room you didn't use in past years. And one of the best features of the RRSP is that this room never disappears, it just keeps carrying forward. B is the brand new room you earned this year, and figuring that part out is where we need to look a little closer. Now, to calculate your new room, that B part, you need to look at your earned income from the previous year. That's a key detail. Your 2024 room is based on what you earned in 2023. Think of earned income as your active income, money you worked for, like your salary or profits from a business you run. What it generally doesn't include is passive income, like interest from a savings account or dividends from stocks. Then you subtract a few specific things, like any business losses. Okay, let's make this real. Meet Alex. Alex just started their first full-time job, and in 2023, their earned income was $60,000. That 60 grand is the number we need to figure out their 2024 RSSP room. So the very first step is to take 18% of that $60,000 earned income. A little quick math, and that comes out to $10,800. This is Alex's potential new room for the year. But wait, there's a cap. Every year, the government sets a maximum dollar limit. For 2024, it's over $31,000. Your new room is always the lesser of your 18% calculation and that annual maximum. So for Alex, since $10,800 is way less than the max, their new room is $10,800. Now, if you're a very high-income earner, your 18% might be more than the annual limit, so you'd be capped by that government number instead. All right, now let's add another layer to this, and it's a big one that affects millions of Canadians: having a pension plan at work. If you do, it directly cuts down on how much you can contribute to your own personal RRSP. The whole idea here is to make this system fair, to kind of level the playing field between people who have company pensions and those who don't. This reduction has a name. It's called a pension adjustment, or PA for short. You can find it on your T4 slip from your employer. Think of the PA as the total estimated value of the retirement benefit that was built up for you inside your workplace pension for that year. And it's important to know it includes both what you put in and what your employer put in on your behalf. That total value then reduces the new RRSP room you would have otherwise generated. So, back to Alex. In 2023, Alex contributed $1,500 to their company pension, and their employer generously matched that with another $1,500. You add those two together and you get Alex's pension adjustment for 2023, $3,000. And that is the exact amount that's going to reduce their new RSSP room for 2024. Okay, let's put it all together now and watch how this works over a few years. It'll really make sense when you see it laid out. In 2023, Alex was just starting out, so everything's at zero. Simple enough? Now, follow me on the row for 2024. They have zero unused room from the past. Their new room, which we calculated, was $10,800. From that, we subtract their $3,000 pension adjustment. That leaves them with a total limit of $7,800. Alex is on the ball and contributes that full amount, so they use it all up and nothing carries forward. But now look at 2025. Alex got a raise, generating more new room. After their PA, their total limit for the year is $9,100. But this year, maybe things were a bit tight, and Alex only managed to contribute $5,000. And here's the key part. That leftover $4,100 isn't lost forever. It becomes their unused room that carries forward into 2026 and beyond.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about retirement. But an RRSP isn't just for that far-off future. It actually has some really powerful tricks up its sleeve for other major life events. And the biggest one, by far, is helping you buy your first home. So, can this retirement fund help you come up with a down payment? The answer is a big yes. It's done through a fantastic program called the Home Buyers Plan, or HBP.
The process is actually pretty straightforward. As long as you qualify as a first-time home buyer, you can withdraw up to $35,000 from your RRSP. And the best part is it's completely tax-free. And if you're buying with a partner who also qualifies, you can each pull out $35,000 for a combined $70,000 down payment. Now, the key thing to remember is this is basically a loan you're taking from your future self. You have to pay that money back into your RRSP, but they give you a nice long 15-year window to do it. Repayments start in the second year after you make the withdrawal, and if you miss a repayment 1 year, that amount just gets added to your income for that year and you pay tax on it.
All right, let's switch gears from buying a home to long-term financial strategy for you and your partner. For couples, especially when one person earns a lot more than the other, there's a brilliant tool called the Spousal RRSP that can seriously optimize your family's tax situation in retirement. To really get why this is so powerful, just imagine two different retirement scenarios. In scenario 1, a couple relies on one person's plan and they withdraw $80,000 of income a year. Because we have progressive tax brackets in Canada, the more you earn, the higher your tax rate. That $80,000 gets hit pretty hard. Now look at scenario 2. They have the same $80,000 in total, but it's split evenly. Each spouse withdraws $40,000. Because each of their incomes is much lower, they both stay in lower tax brackets. And you can see that difference visually right here. The total tax bill for the couple in the income splitting scenario is way lower than the tax paid by the single high-income household. The whole point of a spousal RSP is to engineer scenario 2 for your family. The higher income spouse contributes to an RSSP that's in the lower income spouse's name, but here's the kicker. They use their own contribution room to do it. Over many years, this builds up a nice nest egg for the lower income spouse, allowing you to split your income in retirement and save a ton on taxes.
Now, of course, the government thought of people trying to use this as a short-term trick, so they put a special rule in place called the attribution rule. It basically says that if the receiving spouse takes money out, any contributions made by their partner in that year or in the 2 previous calendar years get attributed back. That's just a fancy way of saying the money is taxed as if the high-income contributor took it out, which defeats the purpose. But after that 3-year window closes, any withdrawals are taxed in the hands of the lower-income spouse, which is exactly what you want.
We've covered the whole journey of saving, calculating your room, using it to buy a home, planning with a partner. But what happens when the day finally comes, when you actually stop working and need to start using this money? Well, the RRSP itself has an expiry date. This timeline really shows the whole life cycle. During your working years, you're in the accumulation phase, building that nest egg with tax-deferred growth. But everything changes by the end of the year you turn 71. By law, you have to wind down your RSP. For almost everyone, this means converting it into a Registered Retirement Income Fund, a RIF. The RIF is essentially the payoff phase of the RSP. Starting the year after you open it, you are forced to withdraw a minimum amount every single year, and those withdrawals are now taxable income. You've deferred the tax for decades, and now in retirement, it's time to start drawing an income and paying that tax.
So when you look at the whole picture, from your very first paycheck to your first home, and all the way through to providing an income in your retirement, the RRSP is this incredibly flexible and powerful financial partner. It gives you tax deductions now, tax-sheltered growth for decades, and strategic options along the way. So the question I'll leave you with is this: are you really maximizing its power for your own financial future?